Voices from the Field with Katie Lively and Jayden Mount. We have Tia Milloy here today. She's an Oklahoma signee, a two-time All-State selection, and a Premier Girls Fast Pitch All-American, just to name a few of her accolades. So thank you, Tia, for being here today. And we cannot wait to just get to know you better and be able to hear your journey. So can you just tell us a little bit about your softball journey and how did you get started in the sport and how it excelled to wanting to play in college?
Yeah, so I played baseball first when I was little, but obviously a lot of people know my two older sisters. Amara played at University of Washington. She graduated in 2019, and then my second sister Kiki just ended her career at the University of Tennessee. So really watching them, like I always knew I wanted to play softball. I tried other sports. I played basketball for like really competitive basketball for a couple of years, but I always knew that it was going to be softball and that I wanted to get recruited. So yeah, I really just started there watching my sisters play. I always remember going to Colorado and going to PGF, being a spectator, and now it's my time to actually play in them. But yeah, I always wanted to follow my sister's footsteps.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Well, kind of going off the second question, you probably already answered it, but who has been your biggest inspiration and your mentor in softball?
Oh, definitely my sisters, 100%.
Yep.
Like my sisters are very, very strong women. Both of them have faced large adversity and found ways to overcome them. My sister, my oldest sister, got injured during her recruiting process, and then she managed to go to the University of Washington. She did great there. She started, and then Kiki, they had kind of a rough season when she got there at Tennessee, and then with her and her other teammates, they like turned the program around, and then they went back to the World Series for the first time in years. So just watching the successes that my sisters have had has really inspired me.
That is super cool. That is awesome. You have a rare thing going with having two sisters that played at such a high level and being able to follow in their footsteps. That's really awesome. So what made you choose the University of Oklahoma? Was it a difficult decision to go through the recruiting process? Were you there and you're like, oh, this is where I want to be? Kind of take us through that decision to commit to Oklahoma.
So going into September 1st, I wanted to keep all my options open. I tried to talk to every single school that showed interest in me. I wanted to be as grateful as I could, and coaches that were willing to come to my games, spend their time like learning who I was going to talk to every single one of them. So I talked to a lot of schools after September 1st, and OU was always one where I felt like the coaches really went out of their way to know who I was, not as just a softball player, but they really knew me personally. When I started talking to Coach Gasso and JT and Coach Rocha after the first, they wouldn't ask me about softball. They would always ask me like, oh, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? What do you like to eat? Stuff like that. So really committing to OU was just, it felt safe for me. And I knew that I was in good hands, and I was in the hands of people who cared about who I was as a person.
That is awesome to hear. That's awesome.
Yes. And then what are you most excited about going to Oklahoma this fall?
Oh man, I'm excited. A lot of people know I'm from Washington, so I'm just excited to like move and be in a different state and be in a different environment. I love Washington. I've grown up here my entire life, and I have my family here and like some friends here. But it's just exciting to just like start a new chapter and be in a different environment. I'm excited to just make friends with a bunch of athletes and stuff like that. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yep, that's awesome.
So how are you preparing to transition from high school to college? Like you said, moving out of state, what does your training routine look like? How did you balance academics and athletics? And take me through kind of your process of transitioning into being a student athlete in college.
Yeah, so I feel like I kind of had a little bit of advantage just because two of my older sisters went through the recruiting process, went through college sports recently. So they kind of tell me like what their routines are and what and how it mirrors like other programs around the country. And they're like, hey, OU's probably going to do kind of the same thing. So like one example I can think of is like morning weights. And for that, I'm not really a morning person. It takes me a long time to get up in the mornings. So so this year in the fall before like softball season, I was getting up before school because my school, it actually kind of worked out perfectly because my school like moved back an hour. So I was getting up at 6 a.m. and then I was doing cardio in my home gym before school to kind of just like mimic like morning weights in college and stuff like that, get my body activated. And so I was doing that, and then straight from school I was going to lifts, and then I would go hit and stuff like that. So I feel like I've just been really trying to hammer in a routine because there's a lot of routines in college that I'm going to have to follow. And so I think that it's helpful having my sisters go through that pretty recently.
Yes.
And I feel like not all of it's going to like blindside me. But yeah, that's like some of the ways I'm trying to get ready.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Know what to expect
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
more than most
Yeah.
people, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Especially that summer right before college, because it's definitely a wake up call when you get there. Balancing school and weights and all that. So, have you had a chance to meet or play with any of your future teammates?
Yeah. So I've met all of them. We just recently went on, or not recently, I guess it was in November. We went on a just an unofficial visit with all of the signees. This is right after signing day. So all of them are just people that I'm really excited to play with. They're good people. We just got our roommate assignments, and then one of them is already my best friend, Corey. And we got to play together on a minority team. Last summer, we got to spend a week in Seattle for the MLB All-Star Week, and so
Oh, that's awesome.
that's where we really got close. And it's just it's exciting, the people I'm about to be on a team with.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, building that camaraderie already is so
Yeah.
big. So you mentioned a little bit before in the recruiting process that, you want to make sure you give everybody, an equal opportunity and talk to everybody that reached out to you. So kind of speak more on that inside of social media. I think social media plays a huge aspect in recruiting nowadays. And what advice would you give to younger players, maybe the 2026s that are about to go into the recruiting process? How would you tell them to interact with coaches and to get seen by coaches through social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, and that kind of thing?
I would say like watch what you're putting out there and watch how you're representing yourself on social media. For
Okay.
me, I don't have any like I have a little bit of a following on TikTok, and for me, I don't have any like cuss words, any music that has like vulgar language in it on my page. That's just a personal choice, and that's for my brand and whatever. But I think that a lot of people forget that like their accounts are public for everybody, and coaches are looking at that. So I would say make sure that your accounts are clean, whatever, and then also like just like put your highlights out there. And I know like a lot of coaches interacted with my Twitter when I was going through the recruiting process, so don't be scared to like post your highlights, don't be scared to tag coaches and stuff like that. It just makes it a little easier for them to see it. Like I think they get flooded with emails, and
Right.
they can probably see Twitter a little better. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you mentioned the branding part. We're doing an ambassador program type thing, and we're talking about branding right now and how important it is. So I'm glad you touched on that. Building your own brand and getting yourself out there and being consistent and showing who you are as a person. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then we're gonna have one more question until we go into some other fun things. What legacy do you hope to leave at the University of Oklahoma?
oh gosh, I just want to be known as like someone who works really hard. I don't want to be outworked. I think that for me, being disciplined has been hard in the past. Where like I was little and like my sisters always held me accountable. Like they would always be like, "Hey, Tia, you want to come outside and hit with us?" And I was like, I don't really want to," and stuff like that. So now I've kind of grown into a person who has created a schedule for myself, a routine, and has stayed pretty disciplined to that. I think that for me, I don't want anyone to think that I ever gave up, and that's the type of like player that I want to be. And at OU, I just want to play with my teammates. I'm coming in with really good people. I know that they're going to be my friends for life. So whatever we do at OU, I think it's going to be great.
That is awesome.
Awesome.
That's super cool, because I think that someone like you that have, two older sisters that have done what we're about to do and being at elite level, you could kind of just, take off a little bit and be like, oh, my sister is whatever. And the fact that you're working even harder, that's phenomenal. That's a really testament to who you are. And that's really awesome to hear that you never want to be outworked. So I think that'll be something that definitely stands out when you go to college. That's really awesome. And then we're just gonna get into a little fun game before we get done here. So I'm gonna give you a this or that. So I'm just gonna tell you like one thing or the other, and you just pick which one you would rather do. And then I'll have Jayden do a hot seat questions. So this or that, indoor or outdoor workout?
Oh, I'd probably say indoor.
Indoor. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. Some people say outdoor, and I'm like, ugh, it's hot.
Yeah.
But I guess you're in
The only
Washington.
outdoor workouts I do right now are like sprints on the football
Yeah.
field, and
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, you're like, no, thank you. Give me the AC. Batting gloves or no batting gloves?
Batting gloves, 100%.
Awesome. Conditioning or weightlifting?
Weightlifting.
Visor or headband?
Visor.
Gatorade or Powerade?
Gatorade.
Gatorade. Playing in the cold or playing in the heat?
Oh, probably playing in the heat.
Yeah. Day game or night game?
Day game.
Day game. And then what's your favorite uniform combo at Oklahoma that you're most excited to wear?
Oh gosh, I love the whites. I've never worn all white uniform before. I had pinstripes at my high school.
Yeah.
But I love the whites there. So I'm
the
excited.
white one does look good.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, Jayden.
All right, so we're gonna get into some hot seat questions. Okay, so what is your go-to pump-up song or pregame ritual that gets you going for game day?
Oh, I don't really have any. I kind of just like a mellow. Like I try not to get a lot of thoughts in my mind because I'm like an overthinker.
Yeah.
I kind of just show up. Like I don't really have any rituals.
There you
Show
go.
and go.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, if you could change one rule in softball to make the game better, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I would do 4 outfielders like slow pitch, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that. I kind of like
got like a rover.
Yeah,
like a
or
rover
Right behind second base.
Yeah, I don't really like if it hits your hands, like it's a part of the bat rule. I think that's
fair.
If it hits your hands, like,
yes, totally agree.
I feel like I would do that more than the 4 outfielders.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. I haven't heard that one yet. That actually is a good point. Yeah.
That is a good point. All right, what's the most embarrassing memory you've had on the softball field?
Oh my goodness. Embarrassing memory. This was actually like 2 weeks ago, I would say. I was playing at one of the Field of Dreams in California, and like it was really slippery bases. It was one of those bases that had no like grip on them. They were just like smooth.
Yeah.
My coach calls a hit and run, and I'm trying to steal, and my foot there's a video of it actually, and my foot just completely like slips off, and then I'm on the floor, and then he's like ripping into it because he's like, "You missed the call." I was like, "No, I promise I saw it. I was trying to steal. I fell, and like the first baseman was like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And it was just
whole ordeal. You're like, I slipped.
That is funny. Yes, we always have those falling moments on the softball field.
Right.
All right, what's your favorite post-game snack or meal?
Ooh, if it's like in between games, I like a good smoothie or like a acai bowl. And then I also like when I hit like travel tournaments, because in Washington we don't have any Texas Roadhouses, so I love going to Texas Roadhouse.
Ooh, that's a good. Yep, all the
That
rolls.
is a good one. That's
Definitely
a good
all
one.
the rolls. All right, last one. All right, what's the most unexpected skill or hobby you have outside of softball?
Skill or hobby? Oh, I think when I tell a lot of people that I can embroider, they're like confused because I'm like a 17-year-old girl. They're like, "Why are you embroidering?"
That's cool.
I taught myself how to do that. I like to do crafts, so I usually just like teach myself how to do different things. So I can sew and embroider, but yeah.
That is a really good hobby.
Yeah,
or
that is
skill.
awesome. Yeah,
That's
it's
a
really
really good
cool.
thing to know.
yeah, you can sell stuff too.
Yeah, I
No
do.
doubt.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, awesome. We have one more question and then we're going to let you go. If you could invite 3 softball players to a night of conversation, who would you choose and what would you want to talk about?
Oh gosh. Okay. Naija Kennedy. She seems so sweet. I've never met her before, but I have a couple friends who committed to Stanford who have met her, and they say like she's the sweetest person ever. I would definitely want to talk to her. Who else would I talk to? Is this like current softball players?
Anybody. It can be anybody.
This is actually like kind of a family friend, and I just talked to her last night, but Danielle Laurie, because she always has like very good like philosophy, and she kind of has the scoop sometimes on softball.
Right.
And then who else? Who would be my last one? A player? I don't know. Oh, Mary Iacopo. Like she just seems very interesting. And I don't know what we were talking about, but I don't know. Maybe like NIL stuff.
Yeah.
Portal. I think there's a lot of stuff that's like just pressing issues right now in softball that we can just talk all night about what's going on.
Those are some great answers. I'd love to be in on that conversation as well.
Yes,
You got some good ones. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tia, for being on here today. You're so well spoken, you're so mature, and I'm so excited to see you play next year at Oklahoma. We wish you the best of luck at the rest of the softball season for the summer and into the fall. So thank you for having time to meet with us today, Tia.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're
Well,
welcome.
thank
Good luck.
you. Yes, we'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.